Like I always say, we have someone special in the building, and today we have someone special in the building. Go ahead and introduce yourself, my guy.
JoeyBarBar, and I know my eyes are a little puffy, I apologize, but I'm not little baby, I'm not the baby, I'm not a crybaby, I just have allergies.
Well, that's how we started off. What's up, Joey, man? How we doing today, bro?
Good. How's everybody doing?
I mean, we're doing great over here, man. First of all, I want to appreciate you being on Soul Light TV.
I appreciate to be here. Thankful for the opportunity.
Of course, bro. You know, we have to turn it up, and we're here to turn it up. Mm-hmm. Let's go, man. So the first thing I always love to do is just get into the beginning of your life and where you came from.
Right.
So let's start it off. Born and raised.
Oh, man. I'm from a little town called Brigham City, Utah.
Okay.
North. I'm talking about Mormon Central. So growing up there, Brown's been it was interesting. Mm-hmm. Being one of the only, they actually only had one black person there too, but he was adopted by a Mormon, so he wasn't really, if you kind of get in my drift, like it was Mormon capital.
So the knock on your door is kind of Mormon, right?
Yeah. So I grew up a skater boy.
Okay.
I was a straight skater boy. I was, all my friends were skater kids, snowboarders, rollerblading. So kid growing up was fun.
Yeah.
Till we came out to Ogden, and honestly, the Brigham City and Ogden's a pretty drastic change.
Really?
Yeah.
What?
Big change.
Okay, so you being a skater, you already kind of were in the hip hop anyway already. Mm-hmm. What were some artists that you were listening to at that time?
People don't believe me, but believe it or not, my inspiration in music was Fabulous and DMX.
I believe you. Shit, what?
Yeah, I was a big Rough Rider.
Okay, what else? Who else?
Oh man, a lot of old school rappers. Jadakiss was big on me. My dad got me into what's his name? I can't even say his name. Someone with a gun. Was it like Tech
9?
No. I don't know, but anyways, my dad showed me a lot of people. I can't say their names, but funk music especially.
Oh, okay.
At the time, I would say like around these guys. I don't know if it was considered G-funk, but like Sugar Hill, big on that. My dad's huge on that. Then rock music. Big in rock music.
Okay, so skateboarding. I'm a skateboarder too. I can't do the flips. I can't do flips and all that shit. What was your favorite skateboarder at the time?
Ooh.
Don't say Tony Hawk.
Ronnie Mullen.
All right.
Because I was into all the crazy. I can do a handstand on a skateboard. I was doing all the crazy stuff. I was actually sponsored by Quicksilver, but I quit the next week because if you see my hospital, this was stacked like this. It got to the point where I walk in, they're like, "Oh, I'll check you in. Just go sit down." Like they already knew.
Really?
They already knew.
Holy crap. Okay, so let's get into high school because I feel like high school is where you transition into who you
definitely.
want to be. Mm-hmm. What were you doing in high school?
Everything. Breakdancing. I just started actually recording music, cooking. I just started barber school at that time.
Okay.
I was dancing, sports. I was running track and field, baseball, football, you name it.
So you was just a jack of all
trades? I was just doing everything. Yeah, everything and anything I can do.
So you must have been getting on your parents' nerves and stuff they had to pay for.
I'm paying for it, not with my kids, so I know what I did.
Oh yeah, that shit was expensive, bro. I know.
I know what I did.
Oh man. So was music in your passion list at that time?
Yeah, so I've always been. My dad used to make fun of me because my dad's a hard old school Mexican, and he said I was too emotional for a boy. Mm-hmm. But later as we grew on, now that times kind of changed from being a 90s baby where things were a little harder and less accepting,
right.
And now that emotions and like all this stuff's more acceptable, I accepted myself, and I was like, So music was like my getaway, as they said. It was more of a, instead of writing though, it was more of listening, just because lyrics, I didn't care for the beat, didn't care for the flow. The lyrics would always hit me. Okay. And if I can close my eyes, envision anything, like some kind of story or picture, you got my attention.
Yes.
I don't care how you sound or what you sound like. You could be the most terrible rapper, but I'm going to listen to what you're saying because I can, relate to it.
Relate to it. And that's where we go back to DMX and Fabulous.
Yep.
Because they
were actually Fabulous.
Oh, man, Fabulous could paint you a picture, bro.
Yeah, Breathe was my first favorite song ever.
Oh, man. I was almost I breathe. Mm-hmm. Yeah, one to the three to the four. Yeah, that was it. Okay, so with that, coming out of high school, I know that's when life hits you.
Oh, yes, it did.
Right?
Right after high school.
Right. Where were your steps and where was your mind at that time?
So I was kind of all over the place. High school, I was not very popular, but I was when I started doing certain things like sports, whatever. Whoever I clicked with. But after high school, I noticed that's when I started being more of a follower. I wanted to always be popular. I always wanted to do what was out, dress like the people are dressed and talk the way they're talking. So I was a bit confused, a little lost. Had my first kid at 20 years old. And then that's when I was in barber school, like I said, and it actually took me 3.5 years to finish school just because around that time, right after high school, bullshitting, partying, you know, doing things I shouldn't have done, drinking more than I should have, drinking and driving, getting in trouble, lost my license. Then my son came around, and I actually went back to finish school, and I noticed I kind of got a little more of a hold on my lifestyle and my habits.
Isn't that weird? Because you kind of like broke down my life a little bit. I was wild. I had my first child at 20, about to be 21, and it slowed me down. I still was wild, but it slowed me down. So with that, how did you transition from that wild person to being a parent and having responsibilities? So
I was still doing it with my first kid. It's so weird how we're so close. My son is so smart. He's so caring for how I raised him, like being not negligent towards him, but just I gave him the bare minimum, like, you know, you're fed, you got clothed, you're bathed, you know, but I didn't do the extra stuff like let's go to the park and actually like spend time together, not being on my phone. So my transition, it was very slow. I think once I had my third kid, my daughter is what changed everything. But luckily my son didn't end up hating me and was like disowning me, because me and my dad, I had daddy issues. I got beat growing up, you know, I was never good enough. So I'm kind of glad we're not on that same level. More better of an understanding. He's still giving me another chance to do things. And he actually comes up and talks to me now, like, you know, Dad, thank you, or like this, and now you ask me for advice. Like, I can finally be a father the right way to him. But the transition, I would say it was a slow process, a very slow process. But my wife was, I'd say, I'm surprised she's still here, because I'm telling you, like, I don't know if you believe in astrology or not, but I'm a Scorpio. I'm hard-headed to the max. I'm always right, like.
Bro, I'm a Scorpio too. Bro.
Yeah, so I'm very stubborn.
No, me too. I understand.
But she stuck around, and she was definitely the rock behind me. She was like the light that I seen, the vision in this darkness. Because as he said, I am diagnosed bipolar, depression, anger, insomnia, anxiety, ADHD. Like, I'm kind of like, if you really think about it, messed up in the head.
I understand.
But I can still smile. So I love it, because a lot of people are like, man, you got to be the happiest person ever. You're so positive. Like, little do you know what goes on in here is not what you're seeing. But I've learned to pursue myself as a certain image, and as long as people show it and they believe it, I tend to believe it, and then I start. It's a weird thing for me. It shouldn't be that way, but it works for me. It works. So that's kind of been my change in a better way.
That's dope. So what are your outlets to give you that, you know, that ease in life, you know?
Smoking. It's got my medical card. Gaming. I'm a nerd. So anime. I'm huge in anime, comic books, gaming. I'm actually a writer to the fullest. So when I started doing music, it's with poetry. I'm a poet. And then I started hearing beats, smoking, you know, started freestyling. Didn't know I had the talent for that. But I've written short stories. I'm actually writing an anime that I've been working on for 3 years. Movies. I have scripts. So those have been my getaway, writing. And actually, you know what? Just talking to people. So as much as I say, oh, I don't want to go over there, it's because it's my bipolarness kicking in, wanting to be lazy. But when I do go over there and we talk, I tend to get away from everything and forget about what it was I was going through. And it's just like you're in high school all over again, hanging out with a group of friends at the lunch table, like, you know? So really, it's just not thinking about whatever it is. It's just not being in that situation with the headspace. As long as I'm in a different headspace, I can distract myself enough to think of a different, like, you know, imagine a different story.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. Well, let's go ahead and get into your music. We have So Wrong.
Yes, sir.
How did you start that song?
So that's a song idea that I've been holding on for a very, very, very long time. I started doing R&B when I first started. Took a break from it because I figured I couldn't sing. But then I learned, as he did, I learned how to sing too. Took some time. But it's just, my wife's always wanted a song, and I've always wanted to write a song for her, but I never found the right way to do it because I always extort it. I always overdo it. I write too much. I say too much. It's just, I'm kind of going away from the story the way I wanted to. But I was hanging out with Little Sorrows. Shout out Little Sorrows. Find him on TikTok. That man's big. I was recording with him, and he knows my story because that's my brother. We grew up together. He's been there since the start of my relationship as well. And he knows our struggle. So he even told me one day, he's like, man, I remember when you first two got together, you were a dick, Joey. You were a jerk. And you were so self-centered that you did the bare minimum for your wife to make sure she was okay, but it was still all about Joey. So that song kind of helped me explain a little bit why but also tell her, like, you know, you got to work on some things too, but the fact that we can both accept that anything's possible.
Yes.
Doesn't matter how much you argue, as long as you come to understanding, you're both wrong, but you're both right in a sense. There's no reason for it not to work, but that's why it's called So Wrong.
That is crazy. So how long did it take you to do that track, to get that?
You want to be honest with you?
Yes.
5 minutes.
5 minutes?
Ask any of these guys, I write like,
no, that's
not even that. I'm like Eminem. Like I constantly write with or without a beat on my phone. That's all I do is just, words just go through my head. Like Lil Wayne's my GOAT because metaphors, they just pop up in my head like that.
Okay.
And there'll be times I'll record and they're like, do you even realize what you said? Like, no. Because it was just real quick, like, you know.
That is dope. Now, do you write or it's just off the head?
Yeah, I write. I'm a big writer. Big writer.
Okay. So you got the books on books, right? All right. So with that, could you please explain to the artist that's out there that's watching this how the importance of writing?
The importance of it is because you can do all these club hits and yeah, they're cool and all, but what lasts the longest are the stories that hit people. So what I do is I focus on a story. Jordan Lucas is my #1 artist, and I've liked him even before he got big because he says it himself. He writes the script to his music video, then he writes the song to the script. That's a story through and through. So with me, I can't write a song without a hook. But even before that, if I don't even feel the beat in the first place, like I said, where I can close my eyes and just picture something, it ain't for me. But I start with the hook because there has to be a concept and a subject to music. It just can't be all over the place. If you're going to dance, whatever, yeah, it is business. Parties, obviously, they don't want to hear you tell a story. They just want to hear you shake your butt type stuff.
Right.
But with me, yeah, it's just, so if you're really going to be really passionate about it, really put your all into it. It's fun, have fun.
Yes.
But remember, at the end of the day, hip-hop is poetry. It's an art. And that being said, creativity, you can do whatever you want. There's no right or wrong with creativity, but there is a foundation. And that's with the lyrics, storytelling. That's what we started on.
That's right.
Go back in the 90s music, it may not be the most like metaphor lyrics wise, and it may not be the craziest beat or flows because it was a little different back then, but it's a story from start to end.
Damn, that's amazing, man. So let's get into the community of this music. How do you feel about hip hop in 2024?
I'm trying not to be a hater. I'm trying to be a little bit more understanding with this music because I got kids that are, my son's 11, you know, he's getting to the point where I have to kind of, he reminds me of me, like I was in the jerking stage when that came out. I was a dancer wearing the tight pants, the colored pants, you know, dancing. So, and I know my mom thought I was a weirdo, my dad especially being old school, so I'm sure it's the same with me and my kids.
Of course.
Don't want that, so I'm trying to be the cool dad.
Yeah.
But sound-wise, amazing. Producers have gained a lot of talent. It's just nuts what a producer can do nowadays.
Yes.
You guys need to start shouting out the producers, not the artists. Remember who makes them sound great. But lyric-wise, like I said, there's a lot that, like Little Pump and all of them, they're not on my list. I won't even listen to them. That's just. But there's a lot that like I said, their lyric game has came up a lot. Like it's not just, oh, you looking fly, and I think it's the time. Like there's actual substance behind it now.
Right.
The word plays are crazy. Lil Wayne and Eminem have changed the game a lot. But yeah, I mean, I'm not a huge fan, but I have learned to pick and choose who's in this era right now that I can vibe with.
Yeah.
So that kind of slowly leans me into like these more famous artists that I don't like, so I can at least find some tracks that they do that I do like. So I'm not becoming like a hater, because I don't want to be a hater, but I like what I like. Of course.
Okay, so this is a question that I always like to ask at the end. If you could go back in time to the younger you, what would you tell yourself? Knowing the things that you know now.
Just do it. Be confident. All those times you wondered and asked yourself if you could do it, you can do it. You are holding yourself back and always have been. Just let the leash loose and go wild. Run with it.
You're gonna succeed. Yes, sir. Is there any shout outs that you want to give out, man?
Shout out to the team, and you know what? Big shout out to T, because long story short, the day I met this man was actually my last concert. I was gonna retire, and then me and him met on stage, and he just said, give him one chance. I gave him one chance, and look what this chance turned into.
Yeah.
I've been traveling. I've seen states that I haven't even seen just in regular life, you know? Shout out to the whole team. I'm just meeting this man now. It's a dope guy. I can already tell. Vibe's cool. Doggy Down, he's been there for me too. Yeah. Time especially, because Time has helped me through a lot, because got in a car crash, almost died, depression, you know, like he's been there. Yeah. Big shout out to moms, because, you know, I'm a mama's boy to the max. Dad, even though we have our hard times, you know I love you, listen to you, and definitely my wife. Thank you for being patient with me. Yeah. Dope. You know, I can tend to the world like you wanted.
Dope. So if anybody wanted to follow you, how would they go about following you?
Instagram, JoeyBarBar3, and TikTok, JoeyBarBar3. Don't forget, I'm your barber's favorite barber.
Yes, sir. And it's the Show Like TV, and it's your boy Bravo, and we up out of here.
Yes, sir.
Peace.